Hey guys, hope you're doing well and welcome to my channel. Today I'm really excited to introduce you another wonderful AR artificial intelligence tool named Monster Mash. This remarkable tool can create 3D models from images which can be further animated to bring them to life. So additionally, it offers various file formats such as object, which can be easily imported into other softwares, and also a master mesh can work on the material of the 3D models and produce the required work with material, but it needs an image. I will provide more detailed information on this in the next sections. Let's take a look at some examples of these tools. Here's an example of the animated version. This tool has different sections that I will fully explain the next part. But just to get it started and become familiar with it, if you press draw, you will see the initial lines drawn. It's clear that the red parts require two of these elements. And if you go to the inflate section, you will see that the drawn lines will be converted into a 3D model. In the next part, which is the animate section, you can use different points to animate the work and also work with them. So another example I like to show you is this one. These are the examples posted on the Monster Mash website, and you can rotate them in animation mode to see and check your creation. There are some texturing problems that you see, but this tool is very fast and you can export the volume in the same way and import it into the software. So if you look, you will see that an image is used. Unlike the previous one, previously it was only in its default form. But now you can see that it uses an image. I also explained the general principle of how it works. If you click on inflate, you will see the 3D model of the work again, which uses the image. In the next part, the animation, you will see that it has been animated. The next example I want to show you is this one as well. If you look closely, you will see that the image is utilized in the draw mode with the texture on. Once you enter the inflate section, you will notice that the tool has tried to apply the texture to the model, and you can see the animation here. There are numerous samples available for this AI tool, and we will create some samples ourselves to test how it really works. So the address of the site is monstermash.zone, which I will put it in the description. It's a very simple page and there is nothing really complicated about it. You begin drawing your creation from part 1, which is the draw section. Whatever you think will make up your creation can be drawn here. For example, I draw a flower-like shape. At this stage, if I draw another line and double click it, you can see that the line will turn red. I know that if I go to the inflate section, I will have 2 volumes from that red line. Yeah, if we enter the inflate section, I will see that it quickly converts your drawing into 3D, and you can then re-enter the draw section to complete or modify the work as needed. And finally, you can draw or modify the details. So in inflate, you can see again the effects of the changes. If any lines are left unfinished, you can complete your drawing again in the draw section, close the work and see the result again. Exactly. Another point to note is that you may need to sometimes redraw in certain places. If you click here, an option called redraw will appear. For instance, if I click on this again, it will be selected and I can start drawing again. the previous drawing will be removed and the new one will take its place. So I return to the draw mode and double click to create two of these volumes, and now you can see that my volume has been updated and my work is complete. Additionally, you can animate your creation. If you enter the animate section, you can define points. For example, I will define some points here. If you press the record button, you can draw a line and define the movement axis of these points. For example, here I'm saying that this should work in this axis. To animate a point, you need to press the record button and draw a line along its path. You can do this for every point in your work, allowing them to move separately and create complex animations. For example, you can define a line for a point to travel along certain dynamic animations to have some complicated movements. Overall, this tool is really incredibly convenient and easy to use. It allows you to quickly sketch out your ideas and see them in 3D. Additionally, you can even import an image into the tool, and this is by using the import template image section. I have to delete this. Now I can refresh the site once. Okay, then click on import template image and import the desired photo and start drawing lines on the photo. So I will try to draw the work more precisely first. I try to draw the whole body of the work in this way, and I take help from the edges of the photo to create the volume of the fox. Well, this was the actually initial volume. I can go and draw again. For example, I will draw this part of the fox leg from the picture, and I can continue the work again with the help of the picture, and now I can continue my work. And now I drew the ears in this way, and I can also draw the tail separately in this way. Okay. I already mentioned if you need from a single part 2 times, you need to click twice so that it becomes a red line. I click twice and it turns red. Now if I enter the inflate section, we can see what we have drawn. It's very interesting that we were able to obtain a 3D volume of our image quickly. This is wonderful. And also we can go back to the animate section and start placing points on the work. I recommend really spending some time in the animate section to achieve the desired result. Based on the movements in my example, they're very smooth. I don't want to really make them complicated too much. And so, however, you can see that I have animated the work so far, and it's really easy. And also you can place your own points, and you can have control over the all points. And the most interesting feature of this tool is that it can generate outputs which can be either object files or animation files. I would like to save the file as an object file and import it into my software to see how it looks. I save the file here as object. Okay, the file is saved as object, and now I want to import the file into my software. Okay, great. I imported the volume into my software and it appeared in a 3D format, allowing me to easily select different components of the work. For instance, I can use the edit poly tool to select different elements of the work and make small edits to the individual elements. If any volume needs editing, I can do that too, and ultimately create the desired work from it. It's even possible to work on also texturing. Although some areas may require further refinements, however, it's an excellent starting point, and additional edits can be applied later. And I want to display the work one more time as clay and show the mesh. I can simply add turbo smooth to it. The basic mesh is such that it allows for additional edits, such as adding turbo smooth. It works greatly as an excellent prototype example. I hope you enjoyed this tool. Please like and subscribe my channel, and I would really appreciate it. Till the next tutorial. Thank you.